the United States Court. This right here is a step-by-step simple guide to following an action, and this is from Massachusetts Federal District Court. And I'll explain what district courts are in a second. So when you go to any of these district courts or any of these courts, even the Supreme Court, you'll see where it says basis of jurisdiction. And it says place an X on a box that's applicable. Number one would say U.S. government as the plaintiff. Number two says U.S. government as the defendant. Number three says federal question, which is challenging the constitutionality of something. Meaning you're holding someone's actions, words, or deeds according to the Constitution. That's what was meant when it said, arising under this Constitution. That's the federal question. So if you don't know that phrase, write it down. The federal question is challenging the constitutionality of something or someone. And then number four is diversity. This is where it starts talking about in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, to all cases affecting ambassadors, diversity, public ministers, diversity, and consuls, which is diversity. To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, to controversy which the United States shall be a party, and to controversy between two or more states. That's diversity. Remember, a state means group of people bound together by common law. So the Europeans here, right, the Europeans that came here, and the Native Americans that are already here, and that he gets it. Any issue arising between any European within the state of Rhode Island and any Native American who's a Moor, who's a Narragansett, the issue between each other will be in federal court. They know this. That's why most chiefs who are sellouts will say, don't go to federal court. They're selling you out. Because remember, a state is a group of people bound together by common law. We're a group of people. The Europeans are another group of people. That's diversity. Federal courts have jurisdiction, not state-level courts. Because we're not citizens of their states. Track it. But then you have so-called black leaders saying that the 14th Amendment made us citizens. All you gotta do is write this down. First, the proceedings and debates of the 90th Congress. First session. Volume 113, Part 12. June 1967. Request the proceedings and debate, and I'll give you the page numbers after class, just ask me. Request that from the Library of Congress duplication services, and you'll see that the 14th Amendment is unconstitutional, meaning blacks are not citizens of the United States. Then, lying A-word Indians, chiefs, who know law, are lying to the people, will say that the Snyder Act made Indians citizens of the United States. But then when you do research on this website, caselaw.findlaw.com, and search Indian wards, you'll see that Indians are not citizens of the United States. They're wards of the United States. But they, so
what is what's a definition of a ward? What is a ward?
A ward is an infant or a person of unsound mind, meaning you're not mentally competent. Meaning you don't understand the difference between a European on your land and you on your land, and how you're not a citizen of a foreigner on your land. So since by you not knowing that, they're taking care of you. That's a ward.
You're the same minority.
1% of time, please. What do you mean?
A birth certificate.
Yeah, that's why I said 14th Amendment. Yeah, that applies. So I'm showing you how blacks think that they're citizens because of the 14th Amendment, which is a lie. That's why I gave you the Library of Congress proceedings and debate of the 90th Congress first session. And now I'm telling you the Indian side, because they divided our people in mind. They got half of us thinking we're black, the other half thinking we're Indian. So then when the black people realize they ain't black, they automatically go to the Indian track. So I'm showing you how they're catching us. We ain't Indians. So again, go to caselaw.findlaw.com, which you can find federal cases. Then look up the Snyder Act, look up that year, and then do research on the years where the United States say that the Indians are still warring. To show you that that didn't change nothing. It was a lie. It was an act. They're acting. When you see actors on TV, that's not real. So we deal with the Snyder Act, that ain't real. Tracking? And these leaders know this because they know law. Right? So I went over this to show you that we're not citizens of the United States. So it is diversity, which needs to be heard in federal court. Because we're not citizens of the European colonies. Are we tracking? Are we sure? Any questions on that? All right, great. So now, continuing with the Constitution. Back to Article 1. So I showed you Article 2 where there was jurisdiction and venue. How when they say between states, they talk about diversity. Even when they mention councils, they talk about diversity. Because councils represent nations, different nations, right? Let me just continue. Controversies to which the United States shall be a party. To controversy between two or more states, which is diversity. Even with like if Rhode Island and Massachusetts want to have an issue at law, that's diversity. They're not citizens of the same state, right? As well as between citizens of different states, between citizens of the same state claiming lands. Excuse me, I skipped this part. Between a state and citizens of another state, and between citizens of different states. Now write this down. Sundry Free Moors Petition of 1790, dealing with the South Carolina House of Representatives. You'll see where 8 mixed Moors, that's why they say sundry. Sundry means mixed, meaning there were different shades of brown. They weren't just all super dark skinned. Just like how everyone in this room is different shades of brown, but we're all the same people, right? So don't get that confused. Mixed Moors petitioned the South Carolina House of Representatives and said, we are subjects of the Emperor of Morocco. There's nothing wrong with the word subject. They're saying we're citizens of Morocco by saying that, right? We are subjects of the Emperor of Morocco, so do not treat us like blacks and other slaves. Keyword other, meaning blacks or slaves. The European legislators from the House of Representatives of South Carolina agreed that they were not citizens of the state, nor were they blacks, so they couldn't adjudicate against them. Status, they weren't black, they were Moors. Jurisdiction, you're foreigners, so we can't, you're not citizens of our state, so we can't adjudicate against you. Adjudication, they lacked personam jurisdiction over the person because of their status. Subject matter jurisdiction, because only the Supreme Court and district courts have jurisdiction over the federal question in diversity. And territorial jurisdiction, because they weren't citizens of, again, the state, and these are European colonies, not their land. You know what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with this jurisdiction, you have one which is personam, just means person. But that's the Latin word. Number 2 is subject matter. Which includes, are you dealing with a contract, so civil? Are you dealing with an injured party, which is criminal? Even to the extent of venue, you wouldn't have a crime held in family court. That's not the jurisdiction or the venue. You know what I'm saying? And then again, if you commit a crime in so-called Massachusetts, you're not going to go to a court in Rhode Island. Now again, the name of this land is not Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? So we can't commit crimes in Rhode Island. We can only commit crimes in Narragansett. Being Narragansett, us being not citizens of the state of Rhode Island, they can't adjudicate on us. That's the act of state doctrine. So if you don't know what that is, please write that down, act of state doctrine. All right, so then number 3, you have land or territorial, which terra means land. And of course you have land, the air and the sea jurisdiction. Territorial. It's an I. Which one's called that, right? Yeah, territorial. Okay. So now, the way that this is broken down in Article 1, Section 1 of Article 3, it states that, and so I'll read it over just for clarity. The judicial power of the United States shall be vested in one Supreme Court, and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. Those inferior courts will be the Court of Appeals, also known as circuit courts. There's 11 of them.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You're okay. Don't worry about it. Come on. You're okay. Come here. Come on.
And then you have the district courts.
Oh, you like the adult stuff.
For, actually, let me. So when you read Article 3, Section 1, where it talks about Congress ordaining inferior courts, these would be the inferior courts to the Supreme Court. So instead of us being diverse, having to go all the way to the Supreme Court, they've established different district courts within each of the several states of the European Union. As an example, in Rhode Island, since we're not citizens of the European colony known as the state of Rhode Island, we would go to United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying?
Where is that?
Huh?
Where is that?
That's Kennedy Plaza, right across the street from, right across from City Hall. In Kennedy Plaza, our people by day to day don't even know.
So there's a district court and there's a.
That's how they trick us. There's a 6th district court within the state level of Rhode Island, and then there's a United States District Court for the District of Rhode Island. This is federal. There's a state. That's how they're tricking us, because we don't know the difference, because we can't read.
So then, what cases go to that?
Any issue between any one of us and any one of them goes to district court. Anything. Traffic violation, speeding ticket, parking ticket, family court, a civil issue, rent, whatever.
Jaywalking.
Small claims, large claims, jaywalking.
And that's because you declare your nationality.
It's because we're diverse, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Because they can't hold us to their law because they're foreigners. This is our land.
So, what? So I'm just.
Now, actually, please ask.
I mean, so in a case like that, so you're saying like a small case. Let's say you're having rent issues and you take the landlord to court, and now you're at United States District Court for Rhode Island.
Yep.
And then, so what are you gonna tell the people?
So now you have to establish the status. Who is the landlord? Because if it's a European, they're a feudal lord. You know what I'm saying? If they're European, then they're feudal, meaning their claims to be argued, which then you invoke the rights of indigenous people, saying we have the right to our land and resources back, meaning we shouldn't be paying you on our land for anything. We can take them to court for that. But we have to know that.
But we're all in here paying rent, right?
Yeah. Because not enough of us know this. You got a question?
I was just going to say the success rate.
All right. I'm not going to reveal that on camera.
Sure.
I'll show you off camera. Any other questions?
Yeah.
So, okay.
You're good.
Do they actually honor that?
Yeah, I have a claim in district court right now. I can show you.
So you should be going to school for free.
Yeah.
Like you are right. I mean, because that's not Narragansett. I mean, all of it, but that for sure is Narragansett.
No, Narragansett is bigger than what they showed you.
Yes,
It extended all the way up to the Merrimack River.
Even the head count of our tribe is 27,000. But it should be more than that, because even back in the day when the white people were coming to do the census and our ancestors could be out hunting, could be out gathering, and
But
if
even,
they wasn't on the if they weren't there.
Even with that, dealing with the census, a lot of Native Americans were written as black. And African American and colored.
And even like my great grandfather, Frank Monroe, he was fair skinned. He was born a nigger and died white.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. For real.
Because their legal statuses have nothing to do with skin tone. And you have a question?
It was basically, is the United States the only federal government in the sort of global?
No. Remember the word federal means contract.
Yeah.
The United States federal government is the contract government for the several European states of their union.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're the only sort of union state on a foreign body.
Oh yeah, yeah.
On this hemisphere.
Yeah.
Versus other parts of the world.
Yeah. Because even Canada is part of the United States.
Right.
Not Canaan land, Canada.
That's why you could go to Canada with a child ID or use.
Yeah.
Another thing. So, my mom was on council during the time you guys got to remember vote yes on question 1, and we go for casino, Narragansett casino, and basically I remember we went to DC, we went to Supreme Court, they voted no, we went for a retrial, they voted no. Yeah, and I just.
Now remember I showed you in the book where it said the United States recognizes its relationship between the Indians as guardians. Don't you get to say what your daughter can and cannot do?
Right.
Because you're her guardian.
Right.
That's it. That's the status. We need to stop going to them and asking them for anything.
But then when we did that with the smoke shop, it got raided by the feds.
Can I show you the Joint Memorandum of Understanding of 1978? Because they agreed that their laws would apply to them. They're playing you.
So, what would you, like I told you about the youth council, I would like to bring someone in here. What would you recommend for us to do in moving forward and trying to open anything for our people, anything to,
now,
I don't even know what we could do.
Every problem that our people have can be directly affected by nationalizing. You can say, no, we need unity. Even with the word unity in the law of the states, it means joint tenancy in the law of the states. Your nationality determines your status, which is your relationship to your state. So we have to declare nationality, which first starts with learning what the BS is and what the truth is.
Sorry. Does that mean giving up the title Narragansett Indian and becoming an indigenous person?
No, don't give up Narragansett. Give up Indian because we're Indians. Yeah. We're still Narragansett. This is the land, but we're not from India.
Right.
That's the status. Your name determines your status.
And it's so crazy because like growing up, my grandpa, I come from a very, very powerful family. My grandfather, this is even his jacket, wear everything proud. Narragansett Indian, his license plate said Indian. Yeah. Everything, that word is just taken so pride. Like,
so when we're telling our people we're not that, they feel like we're taking everything away from them. That's not what we're doing. We're just saying, use this name because this is who you are.
Same thing with Black or Latino or Hispanic.
Christian.
Yeah.
So when you identify people with their name, you automatically associate that name to a landmass. If you say you're a Native American Indian, India is in Asia, not America.
It's that simple.
It's that simple.
It's just like trying to get that through. I'm thinking of my people, like, and they're just
stuck.
Don't worry about them. You figure out, you do it, and then you be an example, and then you teach them.
The medicine man just died, and not too many people even went to his funeral. Like the ways are just diminishing. Like it's sad. It's really just sad.
Mm-hmm. But that's not something that you have to give up. If you know the ways, like continue the ways, and then just get this knowledge. Like you don't have to give any of that.
Exactly.
No, your culture.
And we have a lot of young people in my tribe that are trying to downtown. I don't know if you guys seen that big portrait. You know what I'm talking about. That's Lindsay. She's Narragansett. She is 21, 22. She's my age, and she does a lot of things like trying to, you know what I mean?
Inform people?
Yeah, inform the people. She's very what's the word? Involved. She's very involved. But I mean, she definitely like leaves a mark in this modern community. Like we are still here, you know. I look to them. I want to inform, you know.
Everyone's welcome.
Yeah.
So back to the point. Knowing that we're not from India, knowing that these Europeans are foreigners here and we've been here, that's diversity. Their laws and their customs can't be applied to our people because we have our own law and customs. That's why the European had to get us off of our laws and customs and give us new ones, which is their Christianity. And then when you study, you're dealing with the Great Awakening of 1740, where so-called blacks and so-called Indians are now proud Christians. And then they codified it and blended it into their own culture, so now we think that's Native American.
But we have an Indian church.
Yeah.
On the red.
Yeah. That's BS. You know what I'm saying? And our people don't even recognize it because they're not being shown anything else. We think, oh, this is what it is. And then the more we're in it, the deeper we go. So then when someone says, nah, this ain't it, now they're challenging your entire 40 years. Your entire 30 years of you thinking you're something else. That's part of the reason why people don't want to change. Because now they got to deal with, I've been lying for 50 years saying I'm Indian. Or I've been lying for 50 years saying I'm Christian and I'm black.
Even my mom, like, she pisses me off. She'll be like, Indian earrings or Indian this. I'm like, why do you keep saying that when you know that's not right?
Yeah.
But it's just because it's a part of the...
Yeah. You want to say who you are for the record so the camera can hear you and all that?
I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But yeah, she pisses me off.
Yeah. You want to say, tell the story that you told me that your grandpa had a picture of?
Yeah, not that grandfather that I'm speaking of,
Yeah.
but my other grandfather, yeah, he had a... What is the name of that?
I'm pretty sure that's General Tariq, I think.
Yeah, well, he had the big original one, and it would be right in the living room, and all this, like, I would always remember it. He passed away, like, a couple of years ago, and
Yeah, I guess the Indians had this.
my Nana, she's a proud Christian. Like, she is, you know, she's a proud Christian. She's not against it, but she's a proud Christian, and I was like, what is that? And she don't really, you know, she all happy at it, like, she doesn't really know, but yeah, he
That's
had...
the picture she's talking about.
Does your community meet regularly? Are there ways for?
We have tribal meetings every month, usually the first Saturday of the month. But because things have been, you know, we have feds involved, so we have a lot of things going on within our people. So it's not me, we don't meet as regularly as we should.
Is it like political, or is it like we just don't have the space or time?
It's political,
Okay.
100%. It's political. So it's like it's
My
a
question
mess.
really is there a way for more of us, or a small, just a small group of us to come meet with you, and then a small group of you will come to class?
So this is what I was thinking. No, like you said, outsiders are not
Right.
are not allowed to come to any tribal meeting. You have to be on the road. Okay, but I'm sure if I were to, like I said, us younger ones, we're trying to figure out a way for us to unite because we're dealing with our mom, our dad, our aunties and uncles and great grandfathers. We're dealing with problems from generation to generation back. Us younger ones, come on, baby, relax. We're going into 2020. I mean, this is a shift going on with consciousness awakening and all of things like so. But yeah, there would be a way where I could definitely, I have a voice with the younger community. I can definitely get something going here and even request for you guys to come there. Like, I don't really know what my options are right now. That's why I'm here. I'm starting. It's my first time here.
Well,
first time in the class. And thank you. And definitely the next tribal meeting. That's on my agenda. So when you talk about agenda, yeah, I do kind of have an agenda with this because I definitely want to make some history. I want to make move. Like, I don't even know how to word it. You can see like my words are not coming out like they need to. But yeah, I'm just trying to suck everything up and see how I can unite and make some type of movement. Honestly.
Great. This is great. All right, so now, back to this, right? Because in order for us to unite, let's just read unity in the law book. Who would like to read unity? No one?
I read it.
So keep in mind, this is Oxford Dictionary, 5th edition. This book is downtown Providence, 250 Benefit Street, on the 8th floor at the Law Library. All so-called black politicians, all so-called Indian chiefs have this information. Please read unity.
Unity. In the law of estates, the peculiar characteristic of an estate held by several in joint tenancy, and which is fourfold: unity of interest, unity of title, unity of time, and unity of possession. In other words, joint tenants have one and the same interest, accruing by one and the same conveyance, commencing at one and the same time, and held by one and the same undivided possession.
So notice how, as soon as she said unity, the first phrase that was brought up was in the law of estates. Now, what is an estate? Land. Now, is it or is it not true that nationality determines your political status? Right? Which the word political means in regards to affairs of state or matters of state, in the enforcement of your rights and the capacities and incapacities dealing with the enforcement of your rights. Is that or is that not true?
But
right? Hold on. Now, that's political status, right? Now, isn't status your standing state and condition, especially in reference to your estate, right? So is it possible for Indians and Moors to unite if we call ourselves two different things? How?
When we stop doing that.
Great. And I'm only bringing this up not to condemn us meeting each other, because that's exactly what we need to do. I'm just preparing us for opposition. Because if we can't agree to one name, one free national name, which the prophet said, all citizens of a free national government bear one free national name. So some of us think that we're black, some of us think that we're African American, some of us think that we're Indian, some of us think that we're colored, some of us think that we're Latinos.
some think they're more Indian than others. Because,
Exactly.
I mean,
Just like some black people think that they're more black than others, because there's no measurement. It's just my opinion. But with nationhood, it's your morals, your character, your merit, your honesty.
but there's no language, and that's the
There's a language. We're speaking one right now.
Yes, there's English language, but we don't speak our Algonquin language fluently. The number one way to tear apart a people is take away the language. There's no language. We're speaking English.
But hold on. When you study Moorish science, Moors created English. It's not a European language. It's not a European in the context of pale-skinned people language, because we're the original people all over the planet.
And it comes from Latin too.
Which Moors created Latin. That's why they call us Latinos, because we created Latin.
You made a point.
And law is taught in Latin. I apologize.
You had a point 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago about this comment here, that it wasn't the ability to speak across cultures. It was something you made this point.
Oh, I was talking about the Tower of Babel. How in the Bible it talks about the Tower of Babel, how the people speaking in one language cannot be divided, so nothing can stop them. So then the Lord came in and divided the language. But that's not us you speaking Spanish, you speaking Arabic, and you speaking French. Because if you study languages, they're all the same. It's not knowing the difference between connotative linguistics, or what a word can imply, and denotative linguistics, meaning what the word actually means. So we get into arguments with so-called black people, so-called Indian leaders, when we say we're not Indian because we're using it in its literal sense. We're not from India.
And they can say that's so cool.
And then when we tell black people we're not black, we're talking about the actual meaning of the adjective black, meaning it's not a noun, so it's not a person, place, or thing. it describes. We're saying it does not properly describe who we are or what we are because black means pale. In law, black means civil or mortus, meaning dead at law, meaning you have no standing. Just like Indian. Indian in law means you're a ward of the state. Because if you claim to be Indian, you're not from India, and you think this is India, you have an unsound mind. Therefore, someone else has to take care of you. That's status. Now pay attention because you'll hear Indian chiefs, I'm not saying all Indians because there are people who just don't know. I'm saying the leaders know. They'll say we're arguing classification. Your status corrects your classification. And I just said a lot. Well, you have to pay attention to these slick talkers because they'll say things like that, knowing that you don't know, knowing that you don't have these law books, and they'll get away with it because you don't know. These Indian leaders will also say, they'll paint a negative connotation on us going to federal court as if that's a terrible thing. The issue is diversity. That's exactly where we need to be. But that's why they're doing it because they're paid off. Are we comprehending? Okay. So moving forward, if you have, so I already went over how United States District Court for the District of whatever. Rhode Island has one United States District Court because it's so small. The state of Rhode Island, not the actual territory of Niantic. If you're in so-called Mass, if you're more within the jurisdiction of so-called Massachusetts, they have 3 district courts. They have the United States District Court for the Eastern Division of Massachusetts, the United States District Court for the Central Division of Massachusetts, and the United States District Court for the Western District of Massachusetts, or jurisdiction of Massachusetts. You understand that? So each so-called state of the European Union has different district courts depending on how big they are. Can we talk around that? All right. Because that's dealing with jurisdiction and venue. As an example, we have Moors in the Muskegon territory, so-called Lowell. We went to Worcester, the United States District Court for the District of Massachusetts, located in Worcester. That wasn't proper according to how they have their court set up. We're supposed to go to Boston. That covers Lowell. You know what I'm saying? So we have to understand their system so we know how to move within their system. But they just transferred it. Is everyone tracking on that? All right. Just as an example. Now, if you're gonna, a lot of Moors have questions. Well, how do I remove my stuff from state court to federal court? You can go to the United States District Court for whatever district that you have the issue in within their colony. Because remember, when we're dealing with the active state doctrine, we can't adjudicate over them. Although they're on our land, we still cannot adjudicate over them. Proof of that is our Sultan recognizing the sovereignty and independence of the several states. Are we comprehending? Okay. Knowing that we cannot adjudicate over them, we have to bring claims in their courts against their people, so they can hold that according to their law. Not complaints. A complaint is just, Dad, can I have $1? Why don't you give me $1? That's a complaint. A claim is, you did this. You have to pay for this, this, and this. That's a claim. You tracking? Yes.
Is this the same as like making writs or no?
Yes. But when in your writ, the word writ just means command. When you're making commands, what are you commanding? And I've seen a lot of cases where Moors don't make any demands. They don't reference any settlement, what they want for remedy. They just state a bunch of facts and that's it. You know what I'm saying? And they will, dealing with due process, the European courts will dismiss your case for want of jurisdiction because you didn't demand what should have been said. Because remember, they're servants. Remember we went over what government's duty is. But remember, they're not our government. They're the Europeans' government.
So when you come in contact with the police, what is the first thing that you say to them?
You're supposed to tell them who you are. I'm not a citizen of whatever state. We got pulled over from Delaware, on the way back from Delaware, right? What did the policy enforcer ask you? She said, "Are you a citizen of the United States?" You said what?
Do you have a license? No.
You said what? No. And you said, "Write down your social security number," right? And what did you say to her?
I don't have social security.
You don't?
No.
I'm not very
None of us do. Even if you think you do, you don't. But there's just levels of knowledge you need to obtain for you to realize that. Yeah. Just like these fake travel numbers, you don't have that either.
And what happened? He got let go. No
So
license.
when you talk to the police, they come to you. Are you driving? Are you the driver? You were the driver.
No, to be clear, he wasn't driving. He was
Driving.
operating the automobile, but he was not driving. There's a difference between driving and traveling. But for the sake of conversation, continue. I just want to be clear for the record.
Okay, so I'm operating my vehicle.
Yeah.
I get pulled over.
Yeah.
My car is not registered, insured. I don't have a license.
Yeah.
How do I deal with these people?
So, this is where we're supposed to be organized, and they're supposed to recognize our sovereignty, where we need more numbers. Because in actuality, same thing, this is what they do with the Jews, this is what they do with the Chinese people, the Korean people, the Portuguese people. They're supposed to contact our consulate as soon as they come in contact with someone who's not a citizen. You know what I'm saying? They're supposed to contact our government to say, hey, there's an issue between one of our people and your people. Have representatives show up to avoid war. You know what I'm saying? That's how it's supposed to happen. And if you look downtown near 6th District Court, where our people go, was it 1 Terrence, 1 Dorrance Ave, or whatever it is, you'll see a Portuguese consulate right there. So that's showing you that whenever a Portuguese person gets pulled over, they call the consulate to let them know what's going on. And they get released to the consulate's hands. That's what's supposed to happen for us. Does it happen? No. Why does it not happen? Because we're disorganized. So I want you to know how it's supposed to be, and you need to understand the position that we're in.
So let's just say when I leave from down here, from here, and I get pulled over,
Yep.
and he comes over, she or he comes over, and they're like, license and registration.
Yeah. So now this is where this comes into play.
Okay.
Because when they say license and registration, they're dealing with status. Who are you?
Right.
Right.
And then I would say I'm an indigenous person.
Yeah, but come on.
Okay.
The word indigenous is an adjective. You're only describing who you are. You haven't said who you are yet.
Right.
Because are you Aboriginal to China? Are you Aboriginal to Mexico?
Right.
So where are you Aboriginal to?
I'm an indigenous person to the states.
Which states?
To the United States.
The United States of what? Of Mexico? The United States of Brazil?
The United States of America.
But there's different countries on America. Now I'm showing you that's the trap that the Indians put us in. Because there's different countries in America. So which state are you part of? Because the official name of Mexico is the United States of Mexico. So if you say you're a citizen of the United States, which United States? The nation always has to be referenced. You can't describe nothing. If you use an adjective, a noun has to follow. Or pronoun.
So I'm an indigenous person. I don't even know how to word it.
That's our problem.
Yes.
You can say I'm Moorish American. That says you're indigenous to America.
I'm a Moorish American.
There you go. You just declared your nationality. Congratulations.
Yeah.
On the record, congratulations. The public record.
Okay.
That's how easy it is to declare your nationality.
So when it comes, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to, because I understand.
No, I understand.
This is great. This is knowledge, but I understand that I'm really out here and riding around, and I'm kind
So
of
this is where, no, you're not. This is, write this down. I'm pretty sure I gave this to you already.
One
In
thing if you
affidavit
know
that I wrote.
and then you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's Title 31. This is Rhode Island's law. This is their law.
Okay.
Title 31,
31.
Chapter 10, Section 2. When I'm saying this, realize this is talking about diversity.
And this has come from the Constitution of Rhode Island.
No, this is Rhode Island general laws. So this would be right below the Rhode Island Constitution. But it's still applicable. So it's
Sorry. Listen, you gotta stop, okay? That's fun.
again, it's Title 31, Chapter 10, subsection 2. And it's titled Persons Exempt from Licensing Requirements, meaning you don't have to have a license if you fall within this jurisdiction, within these words. Right words. Tracking?
Yes.
Following? Great. Number 2 says a non-resident. Now, since we're not citizens of their state, we're not things identified within their system. Resident means a thing identified. It's a compound word. It's Latin. Res means a thing, and dent means identified. So any non-resident, any person not identified within their state, who is at least 16 years of age, who has in his or her immediate possession a valid operator's license to him or her in his or her home state or country, diversity, may operate a motor vehicle in this state as an operator. Well, I'm just saying, write down that so you can look it up. In the Rhode Island Superior Court. So go again to their records, right? Then number 4 says any non-resident, so again, we're not citizens of their state, so that applies to us, who is at least 18 years of age, whose home state or country does not require the licensing of operators, may operate a vehicle as an operator for a period not more than 90 days. But now we're dealing with, just to explain to you the difference, we're dealing with the common law versus statutory law. We're not subject to that 90-day limit. Meaning if our home state or country, meaning the people that against it, say you don't need a license, then that's what the law is. You get what I'm saying? That's their law. I know it sounds complicated at first, but the more you read it, the more you study it, it's simple. This is basically saying, if you're not a citizen of the state of Rhode Island, and whatever state you're part of, meaning whatever group of people you're part of, it says that you don't have to have a license, then that's cool.
And Morris law says you don't have to have a.
Exactly.
And state law says we don't have to have a license.
Both says the same thing, say the same thing. And you can take a picture of this. And it deals also with insurance, you need insurance, and registration. Your car don't have to be registered either.
And you know, like, I'm just so happy that I found this way because I've always I guess like you subconsciously know these things, but you don't know how to put it into the right words that you just see.
Any other questions? No questions? Do we need a break?
Yes.
Yes or no?
No.
No.
You guys said no
Majority
majority
rules.
for class?
Well,
Sit
the
down.
answer is
Majority rules.
no.
Sit down.
That's it, acquiescence. We all agree. We're not challenging. All right, so now, since to get back on point, I was talking about removals. That's what I was talking about. She's talking about if you get pulled over and you don't have a license, right? And they try to ticket you and say, you know, you got to go to court on this day and blah, 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 blah. Okay, since it's in that state venue, file a removal with federal court where you put your name down as a plaintiff. And it says county or residence of the first the listed plaintiff. Instead of Rhode Island, we'll put Narragansett. That shows the diversity. Or whatever territory that whatever more is in. They don't say the defendants, the police department, right? Which on Providence police vehicles, it says commercial enforcement right on. Commercial enforcement right on. That's something new that they're doing. They're putting it right on the back of the police cars. It says commercial enforcement.
That's good, that's good.
Then, for basis of jurisdiction, are you raising the federal question or are you raising diversity? Each one, and that's if you get pulled over, you don't have a license, you can use whatever one. Doesn't matter. You can raise federal question and challenge the constitutionality of that so-called officer pulling you over who's not an officer, and say, well, according to Rhode Island general laws, I don't need a license, so what am I going to court for? Or you can say diversity, I'm not a citizen of the state of Rhode Island, my home state or country says I don't need a license, so what am I going to this court for? It's the same thing.
Oh, so they're gonna say, what are you where are you from?
Morocco, because this is Morocco. When you go to Kennedy Plaza, right? Face City Hall, look to the left where it says Bank of America, and you see the history right there. Then go to the next street over, you'll see a big old Turkish head with a turban on and a crescent moon. It's called One Turk's Head Plaza. They're telling you this is Morocco, right in your face. Yes.
It doesn't mean like go to battle with them on the spot every single
Yeah,
time.
no,
Yeah.
no. Don't fight policy enforcers.
So just go to
Bring
jail.
claims to court.
So just go to jail and then fight it in court.
Yeah,
Don't
but
go to jail.
Don't go to jail.
at all. Don't do that.
Leave it alone.
you can just unplug the printer so she stops turning it on.
I'm about to.
But if it should,
I don't-
Turn it off first, then unplug it so it doesn't mess up.
That's another thing too, is like when it's procedure suit to the game too as well. It's like where you gonna put the right word in. Cause like if you get pulled over, that's my opinions that I'm trying to put out there. They're not going to listen to you. They're not going to cooperate, and they're not going to understand.
Of course,
what
no.
you're talking about.
You're right. You're right. They're not going to listen to you until we start suing them for their actions.
Correct.
then they're gonna start listening to us.
But before suing, the process of they doing, the only thing I believe I put TDC, threat coercion,
Yeah.
if they gave me a $40 bail, automatically they know they get me against my will, kidnapping and human trafficking with me, and they do not consider them not paying nothing because you don't consider by the 1913 Federal Reserve Act they used the federal law as an instrument of negotiability,
Yeah.
and they took our gold.
Yeah.
So tell them we not
Yeah,
recognizing.
but even what you're saying, you're arguing the federal question. Because according to the Constitution, only gold and silver is money. So that would be your argument. So if you're challenging, the subject matter of paying a ticket, you're arguing the means to pay it. That's the federal question. Are you asking me for a note or are you asking me for gold and silver? Because according to the congressional record, you took all the gold and silver. So what are you asking me for? Then again, according to the United States codes, you took on all the debts associated with the Federal Reserve note, Title 12, Subsection 401, which is still the federal question and still diversity. Yeah. So now, again, removing yourself to court, federal court. Then it talks about citizenship of principal parties, and it says place an X in one box for the plaintiff and one box for the defendant for diversity cases only. They don't ask you for, for the plaintiff, are they a citizen of this state? Meaning if you're in Rhode Island, say Rhode Island. Citizen of another state, if you're within so-called Rhode Island and someone from Colorado is violating you, then you put that for them. Or, citizen or subject of a foreign country. This applies to both the defendant and the plaintiff. It also says incorporated or principal place of business in the state, incorporated in principal place of business in another state, and or a foreign nation, meaning nations can sue the United States. Meaning the Moorish nation can sue the United States.
Has it been exempted?
Not to my knowledge. I have studied on the caselaw.findlaw.com where Moors have filed claims in federal court, but they weren't competent. Meaning Moors started saying, I'm a sovereign citizen. Well, sovereign citizen of what nation? So it was plaintiff in error, meaning they're incompetent. You know what I'm saying? But that's where we're supposed to know the law and not act like we know. No, prove that you know. You know what I'm saying? But that's what we're all supposed to be learning together and all that good stuff. That's why I brought up the information of I apologize. I'll finish another video. That's why I brought up the fact of what information is hidden to what people. Because if we're all supposed to be enforcing the Constitution like the prophet said, if I don't know how to enforce the Constitution, you have all the information, well then now you're not allowing me to be ready for battle. So now I can't even help you. So now I can't even make my own mistakes, learn for myself, and come to the greater collective and say, this is what I did, this is what worked, this is what didn't. Now you show me what worked and what didn't work for you, so we all can go that way. Yes.
One more question. I do have to go. The difference between driving and operating
No, driving and traveling.
Driving and driving.
That's the difference. Yeah.
That's what you said.
Driving is a commercial activity whereby you're being paid to do that.
Driver or truck driver or Uber.
And you're a driver.
Then you're a driver.
But if you're in your car,
and you're under their jurisdiction, just to clarify.
yeah, if you have their plates.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're in your car, operating behind the wheel, and you're going to grandma's house, you're not driving, you're traveling.
Right.
Because remember, when you're dealing with jurisdiction, subject matter. Are you within commerce or your private capacity? Because if you're in your private capacity, then no one can encroach on you. But if you're in commerce, you have a public hazard, meaning you have an obligation to the people.
I do have a license plate on my car.
That's what's giving them jurisdiction. But I just showed you Rhode Island general laws, but you don't need none of that. But now, before you do anything, caveat emptor, you better know exactly what you're doing. You better know exactly the condition of our people, so when they violate you, you're on your own.
Don't just
To an
rip your
extent.
license plate off. I don't need this.
Yeah.
Make sure you know the information, because when you get pulled over, you have to know the information to recite to the policy enforcer and say, listen, I don't need this for this reason. Because it's not going to be able to get pulled over.
And then remember, we are colonized. These people are benefiting from us being subservient to them. Remember that. This isn't just you try something that's going to work every single time. It is, we're colonized. But don't think it's just the European. Our own people are selling us out. They're calling us black and they're calling us Indian, and they're not giving the information I'm giving to you, and they know this.
Teaching their kids this.
Yeah, they know this stuff. Right, so, continuing. Notice how you deal with status, who the people are, jurisdiction, the basis of the jurisdiction. Yeah, this is dealing with if anyone, like in her situation she brought up, if you're driving on the road, you get pulled over and blah 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 blah. So if they give you a ticket in state court, you file a claim in federal court against them. So that's what I'm going to do, so people are back on track. Then it's the nature of the suit. We're dealing with contract law, subject matter, real property, subject matter, torts, subject matter, civil rights, subject matter, prisoner petition, forfeiture, penalty, bankruptcy, other statutes, property rights, social security, federal tax suits, labor, immigration, etc. That's all up to what you think your claim is. But this is where, according to the Constitution and Treaty, and according to the Consular Court Commission papers, competent counsels are supposed to help you in this. So we're not on our own. But don't think that that means one other person is responsible for your entire suit. That's not how this works. Caveat emptor. Tracking? We're sure. No one's supposed to be holding our hand. Right. Then it says origin. Are you filing a claim, meaning original proceeding? Or are you removing it from a state level court, which would be removed from state court? Or is it remanded from an appellate court? Or is it reinstated or reopened? Or is it transferred from another district? Is it a multi-district litigation transfer? Or is it multi-district litigation direct file? That's all up to you to know which one to fill out, whichever applies to your specific situation. Then cause of action. Then it says cite the U.S. civil statute under which you are filing. Do not cite jurisdictional statutes unless it's diversity. That would be Title 28, subsection 1332 for diversity. Then it says brief description of cause. Then it says on the number 7, requested in complaint. Check if this is a class action under Rule 23. Then it asks you for how much finance you're asking for as remedy. Then it asks if you want a trial by jury. Now, since these Europeans are, not all of them are corrupt, a lot of them have proven to be corrupt. To avoid any corruption within the courtroom, you can demand a trial by jury of your free national peers, as well as citizens of the United States, to make sure or ensure that the jury is impartial. As a defendant and as a plaintiff, you have the right to question the competency of said jurists, which, dealing with the Moorish American Consular Court, they have a common law jury. So you can select a pool from competent Moors to be a party to your case, to ensure that justice is indeed served impartially. Dragon? Great. Or you can have a bench trial. Or you can have every single justice within the United States District Court at the bench during your trial. You have right to that, but you have to petition for that. Of course, if you're making any motions or petitions to them, a petition being a request and a motion being a request, they can deny it. That's where we do writs. A writ of whatever. And I can show you in the documents that I did in federal court, they have it typed in as motions, but when you see my documents, it says writ. You know what I'm saying? Which they don't even, I won't even get into that. Then it's asking under number 8, related cases, if any. This is where you put, whatever res judicata, whatever state decisis is applicable to your exact situation. And then date it, and then where it says, never mind, that's on a different paper, but that's that.
What's that?
This is the civil cover sheet. Civil cover sheet. And then there's more documents that they give you. Such as, they'll give you a whole packet. If you just go to district court and ask for the civil claim packet, they'll give it to you. Everything you need to know. But you don't need to pay no attorney thousands of dollars or no anyone thousands of nothing. If you know how to read, you can do it for yourself. Then they also have this, they call it a complaint for a civil case. But remember, I said file claims, not complaints. That's what they call it on their documents. So if you want to cross it out, put claim, and file it on the record.
Should you or?
Yes. Everything that does not apply to you on their documents, cross it out, put to applicable, or create your own. You'll see when I filed with them, I crossed a bunch of stuff out that didn't apply to me. It don't apply to me. That's where being improper persona comes into play. Meaning you're your own proper person, meaning you know what applies to you, what don't. Right? And in their courts, European courts, United States District Courts, they have their own protocols. So certain things we can't do because that's their system. So we have to recognize that. We have to recognize that. Right? One of their claims is you cannot file a class action suit unless you're an attorney. But that's their stuff. You know what I'm saying? We can still
applies to that.
yeah. I tried to file a class action suit for the Moors here, and they rejected me because that's their protocol. Now, this is where I requested from the Moorish American Consulate to file a preliminary injunction to send me, because according to their rules and regulations, if another district recommends a case to them, then they can open it. So since that's a different jurisdiction, the Moorish American Consulate is a different jurisdiction, they can create a preliminary injunction saying that a case is open within our courts, but it's in your area, so you take it on. Then counsel is supposed to be present and ensure that happens. Well, I won't talk about that on camera. But yeah, and I think that's I can't remember the rule off the top of my head, but if you go to their district courts, local rules, you'll see that. It's referrals from different districts. The word district just means jurisdiction.
Question.
Yes.
How do you have New York City's boroughs? Do they only have one United States district?
All right, so now you're talking about boroughs within a state level.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about federal right now.
Okay. But
So
how do you know what?
You have to look it up. You have to look up which federal court has jurisdiction in that specific area.
They have 5 boroughs in New York, right?
Correct.
So yeah, and then that's basically it. So that's how we can start to file removals to their court. Now, be honest, these Europeans will do anything and everything that they can to deflect having to deal with us in their venues. You understand that? I'm not saying every time the Moor files anything is going to work. That's not how this is going to work. But more of us doing it. Right? Let's say they're a brick wall, and I'm hammering away at it. If you're also hammering at it over there, and you somewhere else in front of the wall, that wall is eventually going to destruction. You know what I'm saying? So now we're challenging the full faith and credit of the United States. Now we're challenging their credibility, because if we're filing claims and they're not being honored, there's a problem here now. You get what I'm saying? It's creating more issues for them to deal with. Instead of us constantly being the defendants on the defense, remember what the prophet said, active more, not passive more. Instead of us defending ourselves, why don't we bring the claim to them now? Are we comprehending that? Any questions on that?
Be proactive instead of reactive.
Exactly. As a defendant, you're being reactive, meaning you're not being active. You're responding to something. And the prophet said what? Enforce the Constitution. Where do you do that? District court. What is that called? The federal question. So any issues whatsoever between any Moor and any citizen of the United States, even if they are a Moor and think that they're black, they're still citizens of the United States by what they confess out of their own mouth. So even them. Because if you're someone's property, then that's what you want. So if a so-called black policy enforcer pulls you over and you know he's a Moor, but you don't, he's working for them, so okay, you're a citizen of the United States, so now we gotta go to court. Now imagine how many policy enforcers would stop harming us if we started affecting their pockets through their court system. Instead of us being the victim every time. No, this is what happens when you violate us. You have to see us in court now. competently. No, ain't gonna be no European attorney representing us. It's us speaking for ourselves. That changes the nature of the game. Do we understand that? Do we comprehend that? Understand it? Overstand it? Float stand it? I'm sure. Positive. 100%.
Online said tell it, Jamal.
Oh, tell it?
Tell it.
Oh. No, I'm not saying my way is the only way for this to work. Don't think that. Because when you're dealing with the court system, not everything goes to litigation, meaning not everything goes to trial. You can file a claim in federal court, and then the defendants can say, oh, we want to settle this outside court. You can take that if you want. All right. Here's an estoppel, stop doing this, put your claim on this, boom, 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 give me this much, handle it out of court. But not everything has to go to litigation. It's kind of like chess. Make certain moves to see what your opponent's going to do. Call their bluff. These people be bluffing. And any more that's been in this room that's been in the courtroom with me, or has filed any documents that I suggested them to file, you see how as soon as they see that Morse paperwork, they start switching up. We're calling their bluff. Why are we calling their bluff in their face? Oh, so Judge so-and-so, this guy did this to me. What are you gonna do about that? Because don't you have oath to the Constitution, right? Well, if you don't, hold on, let me go to this file cabinet and I'll show you the oath right here that you got to the Constitution. Let's start stunning them to their face. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like if I'm the mob boss, right? And I loan you $2, I'm not gonna keep sending you letters in the mail saying you owe me $2. I'm gonna go to you saying, what's up with my $2? So now you gotta confront me. You know what I'm saying? That's what filing a claim does. Let's make them confront us face to face within our own competent capacity and say, you're violating my people, stop. And if they choose not to stop, then that's a different story. Now they're violating the treaty, which is an act of war, although we already know that they're warring against us. It's exposing them. You know what I'm saying? They can't be exposed because it ruins the game. So let's keep exposing them. Yes.
We have to get competent, for sure.
Yes.
How do we do this the most effective way is my question. The most efficient way and the most effective way is for people. How?
Study. Get experience. This is what I did. I thought I knew something. Right? I was saying, I know this, I'm so smart, I'm teaching, I know all, blah, 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 right? That's not how I was acting, but in my head I was saying, okay, I know something because I'm studying from Dr. Street Bay and House of Ram, and I'm on RVPublications.com, and I'm studying it, I'm starting to get it, I made a few trips to their class, so I'm like, all right, let me gauge my competency level on the guy who I think is the master of everything, right? So I know some stuff. Someone asked me for help. I said, okay, this is how I think you should go about this. We wrote an affidavit. We went to court. We got experience of what works and what doesn't. Then we came back and said, oh, look, a success. Then more people started coming around. I started teaching more. I started to get my own life experience. That's what our people need, experience. It don't matter what Jamal says. Get your own experience. Come to the greater collective and help us figure out the better way to do this. Not asking me what the better way is, because I don't have the better way. I only have my experience. That's it. I'm just a regular person with my own experience trying to get out of this. You know what I'm saying? So the more of us that have that experience of, I went to court and did this, and that happened, and the more of us start to see, hey, whenever we go to court in numbers, these people are switching up. The more of us that have that realization, the better we'll be able to produce remedy. The more minds we have thinking about one thing, the easier it is to manifest it. The issue is getting all the minds to agree to that one.
And that's what I'm saying. How do we get these people to switch?
Experience. Experience and I would say showing people proof that certain things work, but sometimes that's not enough, but don't worry about that. Because other people see that it works and they will come. So don't worry about how fast it is. Just to see that it's working. You have to remind yourself that, okay, things are working. Yes.
Well, just to add on, like I do a lot of like networking events sometimes, and I have like these art gigs every so often, and like they also combine that with a lot of like an actual networking business.
Yeah.
So what they do is they focus, or what we focus on. We don't focus on personally those who aren't interested. We just focus on like a certain body of people, knowing that a percentage of them will actually.
Yeah, exactly. That's the status of our people. Like I'm going to this event in New York in July. I was told there's going to be around 500 people there. I'm not expecting for all 500 people to come. I'm expecting one person. That's what I'm expecting.
It's not.
Yeah. And I'm only expecting one person to listen to what I'm saying. Me. And then whoever comes from that, great. You know what I'm saying? We can't force our people to do anything. That's not how it works. We can introduce them to things like, okay, we got this many cases dismissed as Moors. Now show me as a black person how many cases you got dismissed without an attorney. And then show me that what you said made them no longer prosecute, made them dismiss it. Show me that. If not, then let's stop talking. There's nothing to talk about. And then, you know, in that environment where all these people are there, one person's gonna be like, oh, that makes sense. And then now a seed is planted. If anyone has any questions on how we're going to save our people, or how we're going to get them to save themselves, refer to what the prophets are. Read the 101s. Read the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. And read the several articles that the prophet, I wouldn't say personally have written, but there's things that he said, and I know he wrote. You know what I'm saying? And I put a lot of that stuff in the back of my third book. A lot of the things he said. So if you have any questions on, you know, like how do we get out of this? The first step is school. This is the first step. Because our people don't know what they don't know, so we have to introduce it to them.
So the 101s and what?
The Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. Any other questions? Any questions on this? No, I apologize.
I don't know that question. The difference between district and federal court?
There is no difference. They are federal
it's one
court.
the same. Okay.
Yeah. The word federal means contract. The contract that the several states have is the Constitution. The contract that we have between the United States is the treaty.
This is a territorial jurisdiction right there.
That's what?
It's a territorial jurisdiction.
Statutory?
Yeah.
No, it's constitutional. Yes.
Say if it's someone that is detained, would you skip 3 and go to 2?
Most likely, yeah, depending on what it is. But most likely it would be to the Court of Appeals, to appeal the decision of whatever lower court. That's where the writ of habeas corpus comes into play. So in that situation, if someone's detained, you would have to identify who they are, their free national name, state for the record that they're a Moorish national, or Moroccan citizen, or more, right? Produce some type of identification, which a document with their signature on it, stating a name correction, is identification. It's either Title 28 or Title 18, so please write this down if you don't know. Because you do not need a photo ID as identification. It doesn't have to have a photo. There's no requirement saying it has to have a photo. It's either Title 28 or Title 18 of the United States Codes, subsection 1028, letter D, number 3. That talks about identification. And it does not say a photo is required whatsoever. Title 28 or Title 18 of the United States Codes, subsection 1028, letter D, number 3.
18.
So it is Title 18. It's Title 18, not Title 28. Title 18, 18 USC 1028 D3. You'll see that within the United States, they don't require a photo ID. It's just anything that verifies what you're saying is true. Right? So in the event of someone being incarcerated, get them to sign something that says, I'm a free national Moorish American, here's my free national name. Then send that to the consulate, and we're supposed to, well, the consulate's supposed to get them out. Or any competent Moor, it doesn't have to necessarily just be the consulates. Anyone with competence is supposed to articulately express that this person needs to be removed, rid of habeas corpus, per the Constitution and treaty, diversity of citizenship.
Can you use that extraction paper? Is that what it's for?
Yeah. Extraction is to take something out.
Yeah.
Same thing as a writ of habeas corpus.
Writ of habeas with it, or would you?
Yeah.
with the extraction.
Yeah. That's the whole point, is to get them out. Any other questions? All right, so, again, in that event, you would express to them that, you violated the Constitution, especially if it's state level court, that is. They are incarcerating on people on state level. They also do it on federal level too, but the more claims that we bring against them, the less likely it is for them to keep doing what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? Because and when you study a lot, when you study more, even when these Europeans are killing our people on the streets, not even Europeans, policy enforcers, because there's some Asiatics and some other people with different nationalities are part of their policy enforcement or municipal police killing our people. When they do kill our people, they give major payoffs to our people to not incite a riot, because they understand, they comprehend the power of the people united doing one thing. That's why they have to keep putting Christian ministers over our people in these organizations to ensure that that energy doesn't be directed against them. We have to direct this energy against them. That's why I said file claims, not complaints. Because when our people are marching in the street, they're just complaining. They're not making claims. When the Moors are expressing, the various violations, they're complaining. They're not making claims in court. Don't complain to me. Make a claim, and I'll help you with it. You know what I'm saying? And then all those complaints you have, they violate me because of this, put that in writing and tell on them. That's how I see it. I see it as telling on them. You know what I'm saying? Tell on them. Tell.
And then here, because I have read that people have started, which is really very smart. They, instead of suing policy enforcers themselves or departments themselves, they're filing claims with the insurance companies that insure whole precincts.
Okay.
And I was just going to ask if that's what that's.
You're talking about going after their indemnity bond, their insurance.
Where you found that? Because that's, I know you just said civil contract and injury is.
So now, but when you're dealing with their insurance agency, you're dealing with something out of court, outside of courtroom.
Okay.
You can deal with an arbitrator, or you can deal with the insurance company themselves and file a claim with them.
Okay.
I'm suggesting just go straight to federal court.
Okay.
What you can't do, there's multiple ways to go about this.
Okay.
I'm pushing federal court because they have jurisdiction over all of that.
But you can hit them both.
Yeah. You can lean them, but make sure you're leaning human beings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the corporation, because it's a body.
Right.
Lean actual humans.
That's been a big topic in the chat. Leaning was trying to.
But besides talking about the land alone, man, it's a risk. I think that I seen that you could be able to do a writ of Toronto. You could be able to ask for all the information whoever is working in your place, demanding them.
That's really discovery.
Yeah. It's a discovery to be able to get you all the documents and the positions and who is insurance company.
But in order to file a written discovery, in order for them to honor that, you would have to so if you ever been to court, you'll see where both parties will be before the so-called bench. And normally it would be the prosecutor or the plaintiff saying, yeah, we're going to go ahead and proceed with discovery. Then the magistrate will say, or the so-called judge, okay, do discovery and then appear on this date. They're telling, it's court order for both parties to do discovery. Which in that situation, we're supposed to agree. Well, in that situation, we're agreeing to the person who's supposed to be impartial to ensure justice is served. I'm just speaking how the principle of it. I'm not saying that European is the judge. I'm saying that's how it's supposed to happen.
Oh, they sell each other out over there if you have an attorney.
No, I'm not arguing that. I'm saying if you are in court as a plaintiff, you're trying to get the defendants to give you any of the documents, you would follow a writ of discovery with the courts to get the court to order the defendant to produce all the information that you requested. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to show you how it functions. Because you can send me a writ of discovery. You can send me a writ of discovery and I don't have to answer it. But if we're agreeing to a courtroom setting to ensure impartiality, because when we show up, we're appearing, meaning we're submitting, if that's what we're agreeing to, then of course I'm going to play the game with you. And by game, I mean go by the law, to be clear. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, all men are independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. It's not bound by any institutions formed by its own men without consent.
So the only thing you could be able to be present there, and at the same time you could just tell them that you're not agreeing with anything that's going on.
Yeah.
It's going over there because of you being there against your will.
If you're against your will, but if you're a plaintiff, meaning you filed a claim, then you ain't against your will.
No, but if you're the defendant, yeah.
If you're a defendant and there's no injured party, you have to go through due process. You know what I'm saying? Because if you committed a crime and you're there, then it don't matter if you're against the will or not. You harm someone. You know what I'm saying? So that has to be clear within everyone. Because if you actually committed a crime, it doesn't matter if you don't want to be there or not. You're supposed to answer that. That's the whole point of law and justice, jurisprudence. You know what I'm saying? So now to address the whole birth certificate thing. I'm not going to say do this or don't do that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to ask questions. What is a straw man? A straw man is a fake man. It's fake, right?
No,
Legal fiction. A legal fiction. Fiction being fake, right? Can you lean against something that is fake? No.
Doesn't make sense. It's
Yeah.
not channel.
So what is a lien?
Putting pressure on something.
Okay, that's one way to explain it. What's another way to explain what a lien is? That's not wrong, just so you know.
Posting up on the wall.
Posting up on the walls.
Remember what I told you yesterday?
A lien is holding something or claiming an interest in someone's property until a debt is paid. Right? Okay, so knowing that a straw man is a fake man, can something fake own property? Any other questions? Now, again, this is not me saying don't lien these Europeans. That's not what I'm saying at all. To be clear, for the record, yes, lien their house, lien their car, lien their bank account if you got it. Lien something that's theirs, something that a human being owns. Lien that, not this.
A birth or creation of, say, whatever.
Any other questions?
How do you find out?
Find out what?
If they don't.
Well, as an example, if you go to City Hall and you punch in anyone's name, you can see what they own. Or just do research. Or if you want to find out information, file a claim in court and command a written discovery, and then lien it. Lien all their stuff. That's hold on. That's why in court they ask you to fill out your financial stuff, how much stuff you own, how much, to see what's up. They do the same thing to us. Why are we doing it to them?
So, question.
Yes.
So if it's multiple people, so let's say it's a ticket, police officer, you can their stuff, the judge who might agree with them, stuff.
Yeah. But now, I'm not saying don't lien. Do that if that's the way you want to go. I'm saying why do that instead of suing them in court? That's the only question I'm asking. Because why file a lien? This is just me. Simple question. Why file a lien if you can sue them in court?
That's all it's been first.
Huh?
So you say sue first.
No. I'm just posing the question. I'm not saying do anything. You can do whatever it is that you wish.
Well,
I'm saying if you file a lien, right, and it's not honored, then what?
then you sue.
And who's enforcing that? They're not even honoring the lien.
But
So in that event, where they don't.
to sue in the first place is also a lien because you're putting pressure on them.
You're claiming something.
And-
You're claiming an interest.
And you can sue in a company suing with a lien.
Yeah. Now, granted, Abdullah called me in regards to this very, very thing, and he expressed certain things. One of the things that he expressed was justice delayed is justice denied. These Europeans will try to delay things. They can't stop all of us. That's my point. Yes.
So let's say you're an author, you have 30 books out that creates security or some kind of revenue, and they've been out for 3 years creating content and revenue. And I had a claim against you. I lien all 3 of your books because that's your creative property that you made.
But now, so
I'm making that statement to answer
Yeah.
the question. So I'm gonna do that to lean your books.
Yeah.
And you could be like, okay, I'm not gonna sell my books anymore.
Yes.
In your defense, to make sure that I don't get paid.
Yeah.
Get paid. So how do I get remedy from leaning your 3 books that once upon a time was creating revenue?
Exactly.
And you could be like, okay, I'm not gonna sell these books. I'm gonna sell these other books instead.
Yeah.
Or not do that in a sense where you could start leaning my property. I'm gonna lean you. I'm gonna lean your house. I'm gonna lean your car. I'm gonna lean whatever you have.
Yeah.
If you want to be destitute, like you can't lean me. So
Yeah.
what now?
Well, when like as an example, if you leave a car, you just follow the document. He still has the keys. You still put it in the ignition and it still go. So you have to get someone to enforce that. Which the Moorish nation don't have a military, nor do we have armed forces or any type of anything. So how are we enforce? My question is, how are we enforcing that honestly?
So that's why we go to the federal court to make sure they're going
to make sure they go and enforce it on their people. Exactly. Which again, they can delay things. Of course they can. But how are they saying no to 1,000 more at their doors? How are they saying no to that? Because every time there's a so-called march on whatever, these people come out, make a speech, they say something because they have to address it. Because the people are demanding it. Even with one of these so-called Indian chiefs out here. He went to wherever he was trying to talk to some politician. He went there every day and beat a drum until that dumbass came outside and addressed him. Yes.
Well, also, if one person is going to federal court, then us as a body and a community, we need to go with them, because that in itself, if we're expecting their officials to put the lien on their people for us, then we need to put the lien on the official that has that power to correct their people. So, because we can't be everywhere at all times, so let's put the pressure, put the lien on the person that can affect change within their people.
Now, can I relate that again to these policy enforcers shooting our people? All eyes is on him now. All that pressure is on him now. So of course the judicial system is going to say, yeah, we're going to award this family this much money and he's going to go to jail. That's law. You have to recognize that. That is law. Because everyone's thinking one thing about that policy enforcer who just murdered someone. You know what I'm saying? Please recognize your potential as a people. Because if we don't, we're going to be stagnant saying, well, this ain't going to work, so I'm not even going to try it. And then what? We're just sitting back and writing things and that's it. And please don't listen, don't just blindly listen to me. Please look it up. Please do your research. And then question everything I say and challenge everything that I say. And if I can't answer it, expose me. Because I'm not about being up here just running my mouth, acting like I got remedy. I do not want to be in poverty anymore. I'm about the remedy. What's going to get us out of this? Not what's going to make us look good and feel good. That's stupid. That's not a personal attack on anyone. If there's a leash on your arm, you're not going to put a gold chain on. You say, look at my gold chain. You're going to take the leash off. You're not going to say, get off. You're going to take it off. Any questions? What's the time? How long have we been live? Okay.
Over an hour.
All right, great. I think this is a good time to cut the cameras. We're going to still build after the cameras are off, just so you all know. Yeah. You ready? Oh yeah. The other person's not here, but I created some awards. Some of the awards here. This first award is going to be awarded to Ellie. Please come up here, Ellie. Hey. He doesn't want to be on camera, but everyone in here can see him. So this is a certificate I wrote for him. It's the Sadiq Award. Sadiq means faithful. says, "Know all ye men that these presents shall come, that on this 9th day of her job in the Moorish calendar year of 1440, which is March 16, 2019, in the Gregorian calendar year, that the said Eli Augustine L, am I saying that right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Has received this award for his faithful performance as an active Moor within the Moorish Divine and National Movement. Around July 2018 to March 16, 2019, Eli L has not only provided the necessary funding to temporarily provide provide a Moorish ID printing machine with his own finances to service the Moors of our area. In doing so, he also, being part of a two-man team who was tasked with printing the IDs and spent over 72 consecutive hours with no sleep working on said tasks to ensure that the Moorish IDs were provided to the Moors in this area in a timely manner. He has also been a vital asset to the Rising of Moors Temple, from providing food for the temple, which all those snacks in the back, he gets those, to assisting with the cleanliness thereof, and ensuring that the overall functions and condition of the temple were optimal for the Moors who walk in. He took the trash out yesterday, and he's been doing that consecutively since we got the place on his own accord. No one asked him to do it; he just started to do it. So it brings me great pleasure to issue this award of faithfulness to Eli L. Thank you. Now this other award, one more is not here, so he's not going to get it. Yeah, I had to shrink the text to like 9 font. This award is going to my beloved cousin, Janaea. I'm not going to read her full name. You want to read your full name?
No, it's long.
I'll just say Janaea L, the camera woman, the light bearer. That's what I call her a few times in a few videos.
Yes, she is.
I gotta read it because I gotta do this because it's 9 font. It was gonna be 2 certificates worth, and we ran out.
He's like, should I do it back and forth?
So know all you men that these presents shall come, that on this 9th day of our job in the Moorish calendar year 1440, 3/16/2019 of the Gregorian calendar year, that Janaea blank L has received this award for her faithful performance as an active Moor within the Moorish Divine and National Movement. From around November 1st, 2017 to March 16, 2019, Janaea L has helped nationalize over 48 Moors who are unaware of their nationality and birthrights. She has also helped facilitate several trips to Delaware to take Moors to the House of Reawakening Minds to learn the truth of their nationality and birthrights, which consisted of a total of 10 hours of travel per trip. She has also competently, honorably, and effectively assisted myself in answering over 2,000 emails, DMs, and other inquiries made by Moors in regard to their nationality and divine rights, and has made over a dozen special appearances in court to support, appearances to court in support of Moors challenging the de facto European colony of Rhode Island, and stood fearlessly in the face of severe opposition without wavering nor faltering in the face of our enemies. She has also been a vital asset to the Rising of Moors Temple, from recording our classes, signing documents for Moors, assisting with consultation on both personal and public matters of state, to assisting with the cleanliness thereof and ensuring the overall functions and condition of the temple were optimal for the Moors who walk in. She's also the co-founder of Rising Moors. So again, it brings me great pleasure to issue this award of faithfulness, Sadiq, to my beloved cousin, Janaea L. This is another one, I'm not going to read it until he comes. But with all, thank y'all for tuning in, thank y'all for coming. We'll continue to build off camera. Peace.